Nigeria will support the proposal to form an informal association of petroleum exporting countries in Africa if such an association will not work against the interests of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. The Chief of Staff, Supreme Headquarters, Brigadier Tunde Idiagmo, said this today at Dorden Barracks while receiving an Algerian mission on behalf of the head of state. He emphasized that to form an African Association of Petroleum Exporting Countries is welcome if it does not go beyond an informal forum for discussing local and international oil market situations and logistics. On Africa, Brigadier Idiagmo said that Nigeria will continue to stand by the decision of the OAU on the problem of Western Sahara and the Chadian crisis. He added that Nigeria stands for the interests of Africa and that it will do all within its means to stop further bloodshed in these areas. The Algerian delegation was led by the country's Minister for Energy and Petrochemical Industries, Mr. Belkacem Nabi. The mission delivered the Algerian head of state's goodwill message, which wished the new military administration success in its revolutionary efforts to resuscitate Nigeria's economy. In continuation of his official tour of army divisions in the country, the head of state, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, was today in Ibadan and Enugu. Correspondent Godfrey Odu reports that General Buhari addressed officers of the 2 Mechanized Division and those of the 82 Armored Division.
His mission today was similar to the one he undertook to Kaduna and Jos yesterday. Traveling in a special Nigeria Airways flight WT-001, General Buhari was accompanied on the trip by the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Ibrahim Babangida, and the Chief of Naval Staff, Commodore Augustus Aikomo. At the Ibadan airport to receive him were the Oyo State Military Governor Lieutenant Colonel Ladipo Popula and the General Officer commanding the 2 Mechanized Division, Brigadier Sani Abacha, also a member of the Supreme Military Council. After a brief airport reception, Major General Buhari drove to Agodi Garrison, where officers of the division were all gathered. His address again today was private, but was in essence to explain why the army intervened and to urge them to be of good behavior. In Enugu, the head of state and his entourage were met at the airport by Naval Commander Alison Madueke, Governor of Anambra State. Also at the airport were the new General Officer commanding the 82 Division and member of the Supreme Military Council, Brigadier YY Kure, and the outgoing GOC, Major General Zamani Lekot. General Buhari addressed officers of the division at the Nike garrison in Enugu and spent about 2 hours with the officers. Like yesterday, members of the public crowded streets to see the Nigerian leader. In his return to Lagos this afternoon, the situation was more exciting. School children and workers abandoned classrooms and offices. Traders deserted stores while motorists left their vehicles. Godfrey Odu, NTA News.
The head of state, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, today addressed military officers in Lagos. The exercise is part of his Meet the Officers tour of military establishments throughout the country. For details, over now to correspondent Godfrey Odu.
The venue for today's meeting with officers was the Nigerian Air Force Mess on Victoria Island. Accompanying the head of state were service chiefs and some members of the Supreme Military Council. The main hall of the mess was filled to capacity with officers from various sections of the armed forces. Major General Buhari spent about 1.5 hours with them. The meeting took a similar format to the ones he held with their counterparts in other parts of the country. In the last 2 days, General Buhari has addressed officers in Kaduna, Jos, Ibadan, and Enugu, and is scheduled to address police chiefs in Lagos tomorrow. Godfrey Odu, NTA News.
The head of state, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, today met police chiefs from all over the Federation. The exercise forms part of General Buhari's Meet the Officers program, which started earlier this week. For the full report, over to staff correspondent Godfrey Odu.
The head of state's meeting today was with top police officers from the rank of commissioner. The venue was the main conference chambers at Supreme Headquarters. Police commissioners from all state commands, as well as those from various police formations in Lagos, were here assembled. Also at today's briefing were the Chief of Staff Supreme Headquarters, Brigadier Tunde Idiagmo, Chief of Army Staff, Major General Ibrahim Babangida, Naval Chief of Staff Commodore Augustus Aikomo, and the Police Inspector General, Mr. Ian. Like his earlier meetings with military officers, General Buhari's address to the police chiefs was behind closed doors, but was believed to have centered more on internal security and the action plan of the new military government. The meeting today lasted a little more than 1 hour and concludes the head of state's scheduled briefing of officers in both police and military formations around the country. Godfrey Odu, NTA News.
Nigeria has called on her friends to cooperate with her in the quest for true development of the country. The call was made in Lagos today by the Chief of Staff, Supreme Headquarters, Brigadier Tunde Idiagbon, while receiving the outgoing Portuguese ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Armando Nunes de Freitas. Brigadier Idiagbon said that majority of Nigerians associate true development with the betterment of the lot of the common man and that they were opposed to economic injustice. Responding to a question on the possibility of increasing Nigeria's oil exports to Portugal, Brigadier Idiagbon said that the nation was constrained by the production quota presently allocated to it by OPEC. He added, however, that the prospect will be brighter when the world oil market situation improves. The outgoing envoy expressed his government's gratitude to Nigeria for sustaining the level of cordiality between the two countries.
Activities marking the Armed Forces and Remembrance Day were rounded off today throughout the country. The grand finale was the wreath-laying ceremony at the National Remembrance Arcade in Lagos and the cenotaphs in state capitals. For the ceremony in Lagos, over now to Dodon Barracks correspondent Godfrey Odu.
The Remembrance Day week was climaxed today with the wreath-laying ceremony at the Memorial Arcade, Tafawa Balewa Square. The usually colorful ceremony was presided over by the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Major General Muhammadu Buhari. The outfit at the square this morning included representatives of all the three armed services, the police, members of the Nigerian Legion, diplomats, and some invited members of the public, including traditional rulers. The head of state was received at the square by the Chief of Staff, Supreme Headquarters, Defense Minister, Service Chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, and the Doyen of the Diplomatic Corps, as well as the Chairman of the Nigerian Legion. General Buhari inspected an honor guard mounted by a detachment of the Brigade of Guards and members of the Nigerian Legion. Prayers were said by three army chaplains representing the Islamic, Catholic, and Protestant faiths. They prayed for the repose of the souls of soldiers who lost their lives fighting for their nation. They prayed for peace and prayed that God may grant wisdom and give guidance to the head of state and all other persons in authority. Military guards in full ceremonial dress with guns in reverse order goose-stepped alongside the head of state as he moved forward to lay a wreath on the grave of the unknown soldier. All the wreaths were laid by the Chief of Staff, Supreme Headquarters, Brigadier Tunde Idiagbon, the Minister of Defense, Major General Domkat Bali, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Ibrahim Babangida, the Chief of Naval Staff, Commodore Augustus Aikomo, and the Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Ibrahim Alpha. Wreaths were also laid by the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Eti Minyang, the Chairman of the Nigerian Legion, the Doyen of the Diplomatic Corps, Ambassador Lamine of the Cameroons, and the Oba of Lagos, Adeyinka Onyeko II. 14 armed guards performed the traditional revival at military burials. To conclude today's ceremony, the head of state released about 1,000 pigeons. The Armed Forces Day and Remembrance Week held every January is especially to remember soldiers who died fighting in the World Wars and the Nigerian Civil War, as well as remind the public in general of the plight of the disabled ones and their other dependents who suffered privation through no fault of theirs. Besides the interdenominational services in mosques and churches during the week, emblems were sold to raise funds for the upkeep of widows and children of war victims throughout the country. Godfrey Odu, NTA News.
With measures already being taken by the new military government, retail prices for essential commodities are expected to become stable in the next month or two. At a meeting with representatives of the business community in Lagos today, the Chief of Staff Supreme Headquarters, Brigadier Tunde Idiagbon, spoke of the administration's intention to keep in close touch with the private sector on matters affecting national economy. From State House Marina, Godfrey Odu reports.
Today's meeting with representatives of the business community took the form of a luncheon, but in real terms it became the first formal consultation between the new federal administration and the private sector in the process of repairing Nigeria's bad economy. The Chief of Staff Supreme Headquarters, Brigadier Tunde Idiagbon, hosted the lunch at State House Marina. In attendance were about 40 top representatives of the industrial, commercial, and finance sectors. He reminded them after lunch that one of the primary reasons for the military takeover was the gross mismanagement of the national economy by the ousted civilian government, and that it was the intention of the new administration to stay in constant consultation with the private sector, which he described as a vital facet to the nation's economic well-being.
This administration is much aware that you in the private sector have suffered hard times in the process, such that today the nation's industrial and commercial base is marked by retrenchment and shutdowns. In fact, I'm aware that it's now rare to find any industry in Nigeria that is operating at above an average of 50% capacity. I want to assure you that this administration has already set about realigning the import licensing procedures such that local industry gets priority to maximize domestic production of goods and services. That this nation does not have enough resources in foreign exchange to meet all its import needs is clear to all. Such foreign exchange as is available, therefore, must first be utilized in keeping local industry in as full a level of production as possible before any consideration is given to the importation of finished commodities. This will have the dual effect of expanding job opportunities and at the same time improving the supply situation of essential commodities. It is our commitment to keep Nigerians in employment in their own country rather than provide jobs for foreigners by importing what can be produced locally.
Brigadier Idiagbon, however, observed that Nigeria's economic predicament should not be blamed only on the ousted civilian government and the public sector, but that the business community also contributed to some degree.
We are aware that some have charged one price for their products while giving receipts to customers that bear no relation with the actual amounts paid. Others, with the connivance of company officials, divert goods to unestablished distributors, thus defeating the ends of resale price maintenance. These antisocial practices must stop. I will place the responsibility squarely on your shoulders to do everything that is humanly possible to ensure that the resale prices are maintained and that the customers get value, both in terms of quality and service.
Responding on behalf of his colleagues was Professor Ayo Gunsheye, President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce. He promised that the organized private sector will cooperate fully with the federal administration to achieve the set objectives.
May I suggest that perhaps, apart from the great psychological problem which you have on your hands and which I hope you'll be able to solve, that the expectations which the public expects of your government is so great that I think all of us owe it to ourselves to help you to be able to fulfill those expectations.
Both parties expressed willingness to hold several such meetings in future to monitor the growth of the economy. Godfrey Odu, NTA News.